What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, November the 1st, and that means it's time for my news radar. Yesterday, tech leaker extraordinaire EV Leaks Evan Blass, I believe is his actual name, he tweeted out a whole bunch of really crazy images that I guess he just had laying around and just hadn't felt the need to share with the world. So there's two of them in particular today that I want to show you guys and I want to talk about. So the first one here is something called the Asus ROG Flow Z13. And what you may think immediately upon seeing this is, no, Shane, clearly that's the Surface Pro 8 or something like that. But in fact, no, this is actually an Asus device, which looks strikingly similar to the Surface Pro line. You've got the kickstand in the back. You've got the keyboard looks nearly identical. It is more squared than the Surface devices have been. The bezels look to be a little bit thicker than the Surface Pro 8, but it's hard to tell because it's on a black background. But nonetheless, this is an Asus device. But what's really interesting here about this device is that it's got the ROG branding, which is Republic of Gamers. So what this thing stands to be potentially is a gaming-focused Surface Pro 8 type device. Now, of course, this thing will be able to be plugged into an eGPU with all likelihood, which means you can have a little box with a high-end GPU in it, plug it in via a USB-C port, and have access to the raw power of that device, when you're at home. Take it on the go with you, and I'm sure it'll be able to do some light gaming that way as well. But bring it home, plug it into an eGPU, and it's a proper gaming workstation with all likelihood. Price obviously is probably going to be relatively expensive, but I'm really curious to see how this thing turns out when it is finally released. No word on any other details about this thing. We have a picture tweeted here by @EVLeaks. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys that he tweeted was this here. This is called the Royole F3. Now, if you've probably not heard of the brand called Royole or Royale, I thought it was pronounced Royale, but here it's spelled Royole. And basically, this was the company that, if I'm not mistaken, actually released to the public the first foldable smartphone. It wasn't Samsung, it wasn't Huawei, it was Royole. And this thing was called the Royole Flex Pi, which is a name that feels terrible in my mouth to say. And as you can see here, it folded the other way around when compared to the Samsung devices to be able to still be used as a phone. There's a lot of problems with this design, though. That side over there that's going to get scratched all to hell. And from all accounts, there's a giant gap there. That's really worrisome. From all accounts, this thing was, when it launched, it was $1,300, which was when the original Z Fold was over $2,000. But it just wasn't very good. It was a pretty lackluster device. They did actually come up with a sequel, the Royole Flex Pi 2, and now we have this, the Royole F3, and there's a couple of really big changes here on this device. The biggest one, of course, is that there's no cover display. You just have a tablet. This doesn't have a phone display on the outside that opens up to a tablet. It's just a tablet. I think it looks much more premium than their previous devices, but the fact that there's no cover display. So here's what I want to know about this. What would this thing have to cost for it to be viable for anyone, and what would the use case be? Because you can't carry it as a phone, right? It's just an Android tablet that you can put in your pocket. Is this something you would want to put your SIM in, and what would it cost to make that be a reasonable thing for you to do? Now, let's keep in mind also it's got a pop-up selfie cam. Shout out to the OnePlus 7 Pro, the phone I used to daily drive that I really liked. That had a similar pop-up camera. You've got a couple of cameras on the outside and a weird spot on the other side. Let me throw this at you since we don't really know what's going on here. Is it possible that maybe we're looking at this the wrong way and maybe it still does fold the other way around and that camera bump sits in a little divot there and they're sticking with the other way around fold? If that's the case, again, what would the price be? What do you guys think of a cheap budget foldable to compete with something like the Z Fold? Personally, look, do I think anybody's going to buy it? Do I think I'm going to buy it? No, I'm not, and I don't think many people are. But I do like to see someone pushing the budget versions of these devices. Let's get that price down, because I really like folding OLED devices. So let's have more companies making cheaper versions of them. I can't wait to see what Google does. Might theirs be cheaper as well? I don't know, but I'm excited to see it. And it's cool to see this company is still chugging along somehow. I mean, someone must be buying these things because the company still exists. So one of the biggest features of the Google Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro is something called Magic Eraser. It's this wonderful ability for Google Photos to take a picture that you took and remove objects from it using AI, artificial intelligence. And we were told that this was something that was requiring the new Google Tensor chip to be able to make work. But now we know from a couple of different ways that this just is not true. In fact, we have an article here from Android Police. Again, as always, the link will be in the description. Basically, how to get Magic Eraser working on any Pixel device running Android 12. And in fact, apparently some people have reported getting this to work on non-Pixel devices running Android 11 and so forth. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of exactly how to do this. You're going to download a split APK installer. You're going to download this APK. You're going to run it through whatever. You can check out this guide here and do it yourself. It doesn't sound all that difficult to do, and if you have a Pixel or maybe you want to try it on another device, it's definitely there for you to try. What I really want to talk about here is the fact that this big feature of Google Tensor isn't a feature of Google Tensor. Now, maybe Tensor makes it a little bit quicker than it is on another device, but this is just weird to me. And Google's bad about doing this kind of stuff. And a lot of companies do this kind of stuff where they tell you, here's a new feature, and you gotta have the newest hardware to take advantage of this new revolutionary feature. And they're full of crap because it totally would work on last year's phone or even the year before that's phone. It'll work on a Pixel 5 running a Snapdragon 765G, which is a mid-range chip. You don't need Tensor to do this. So they lied. They lied about this stuff. And it's funny to me that they lied. And it's funny to me that we've already found out that they lied so very quickly. Not to mention the fact that there are numerous apps on the Google Play Store that will approximate this exact feature. I think I might have already talked about this before, but I just kind of wanted to ping it again because it is cool. And it's something that if you saw this Pixel stuff and you're like, man, I wish I had that. I wish I could do that. You probably can because there's an app right here that I linked to in this tweet. I'll put this in the description as well, called Touch Retouch. It's $2. And I put some samples here on Twitter of what it's capable of. Went for a walk around the neighborhood. It was a nice day. I was watching the Titans game. I was stressed out. So I took my Surface Duo 2. I walked around the neighborhood with YouTube TV on one screen and my camera app on the other as I watched the game and took some pictures of some fall leaves and so forth and so on. And this is what I got. So this image here, you have a power line coming right through it. And that's something that drives me bonkers. It just ruins the shot. Well, using Touch Retouch, it's gone. I just deleted it completely. You would never know that had been there if I hadn't just shown it to you. You can look right there. That's where it was coming through. Can you tell that that's where it came through? No, you can't. How about the next picture? Right next to that tree, there was another tree with beautiful yellow fall leaves. But again, power pole, power lines. Let's jump to the next image. No more power pole. I mean, it's pretty impressive stuff, right? Like that does a pretty damn good job. And I tweeted some more samples. How about this? Here's a no parking sign that I just totally got rid of using Touch Retouch. Looks pretty convincing, right? Here's a cone. Now there's no cone. Totally deleted. Absolutely gone. So again, here's two ways to get Magic Eraser. Try doing this, and if that doesn't work, $2 on this app, and it's going to work pretty reasonably well. Windows Central has a pretty interesting little story here about how to save up to $700 on Surface Duo 2 with a hidden Best Buy promotion. Let's take a look at this article here, and we'll tell you exactly what you need to know. This is an offer, a promotional page on Best Buy's website, which again, all of this will be in the description for trade-ins, which tells you that you can get up to $700 with a qualifying trade-in for this promotion. So $700, they're going to give you something for your trade-in. They're going to give you a $250 point of sale coupon. And there have been some reports of people bringing an original Surface Duo into Best Buy and getting $700 off their Surface Duo 2, which is a really good deal, in particular if you bought your Surface Duo for like, I don't know, $400 or something a few weeks ago, to bring it in and get $700 back for it to get a Surface Duo 2. As mentioned here in this article, some people on Reddit have said that a Best Buy employee said that this deal wrapped up December the 31st. So if you're thinking about doing this, go into Best Buy, have this promotional page pulled up on your phone, show them what you're looking at, talk to them and see if you too can get a huge discount on Surface Duo 2. If you're a Surface Duo lover, I can't stress this enough. If you can get $700 off the thing, this may be worth doing for you. Surface Duo 2 is a lot better than the original Duo, in particular if you plan on using the thing as your only daily driver, your only phone. Like if you're happy having your Duo as a secondary phone, you don't use the camera, whatever, you're probably fine to keep your original Duo. But if you're like me and you love the device and you want to make it your only device, Duo 2 look, you can do it now. I promise you, you can actually do it now. So look into this. If this is something you're waiting for, a good deal, a good trade-in, whatever for your Duo, this might be the way to go. Now, speaking of something a bit more negative on Surface Duo 2, I need to rant for just a second. So buckle up, get ready. I'm going to say some mean stuff about Microsoft and about Duo, unfortunately. As we ran up to Surface Duo 2, there was stuff showing in videos, in pictures from Microsoft saying that the Microsoft Your Phone app on Surface Duo would finally have feature parity with the Samsung devices. We would have all the features the Samsung devices already had on Microsoft's own Your Phone app. Now, we have Duo 2, we have the Your Phone app. I've given you a guide on how to set this thing up. And unfortunately, that just wasn't true. We do not have these features here yet. The app is still not updated to have the ability to launch Android apps on our device via Surface Duo 2 in a nice little window. We are still rolling with the old features, basically only having full screen sharing, but no app launching capabilities. If you don't know what I'm talking about, link in the description below to the video, the setup video, where I do talk about this being the case as well. And I'll give you visual representations of exactly what I'm talking about. This is already pretty frustrating. The fact that we just don't have the thing that they said we were going to have. The thing's been out now for a few weeks. It hasn't happened yet. That's annoying. And it's par for the course with Microsoft and Surface Duo. They tell us some software is coming, and then they just never deliver it. It's exceedingly frustrating. The only good news about all this stuff is that Duo 2 is already in a pretty damn good state. So if nothing ever happens with it, it's still already pretty good. We're not, looking at this thing and saying, well, I hope one day it gets fixed and it's a good device. It's already a good device as far as I'm concerned. But still, this is really, really frustrating that they just aren't delivering on another promise. And to make matters even worse, if you use the Your Phone app currently, and this has been true for me all the way back to the very beginning when the original Duo launched, you pair it to your Phone app and you use the screen sharing so you can be on your computer and you can see your Surface Duo screen and actually interact with it with your mouse and keyboard. It's a good feature and it works well. The problem is when you're done and you shut that down, your Surface Duo may do a thing, almost certainly, where even when it is closed, the screen stays on. I was using this and I looked over, and rather than seeing my glance bar and seeing, the time or a notification or something in here in the glance bar, instead, what I saw was that the screen was still on. I could see my background glowing through the hinge because this glitch that has been going on since the very, very beginning of Surface Duo, wherein after using your Surface Duo, your screen would just stay on when it's closed, killing your battery, potentially causing burn-in if you don't notice it for like a day or two. That would really suck. Somehow that's still here. It's been over a year and that still is happening. If you cast your screen and then you shut it off and close your phone, your screen is probably still on. I have no idea how on earth that is possibly still happening. And the only way to stop it is to literally go into your notification shade where you can tell it to connect or not connect to the Your Phone application. So you pull this down, you go over where it says link to Windows, you'll have a computer name there. Toggle that back off, then go into your settings, go into your apps, and force close the Your Phone app. That's it. If you reboot, it may come back to life and still be doing it. You have to literally turn it off and force quit the damn app just to make that stop happening. I'm pissed off about this. It's ridiculous. Microsoft, fix the damn app. Update Your Phone and fix this crap. It's a terrible look. It's a terrible look for those of us that we want to believe in you, right? Like, we want to believe that Microsoft loves this device and that they're going to do right by it. But you're just giving us every possible reason to assume that's not the case. Fix it. that concludes today's rant. Guys, thanks for making it to the end of today's video. Stay tuned for the next news radar, which does happen every Monday and Friday. Thanks for subscribing, hitting that join button, as so many of you have done. In fact, let's just look at all the lovely people that have hit that join button. Do you see your name here? If you do see your name here, I want to say a personal thanks to you as I scroll through this. Thank so many of you. You comment all the time. If you've done this, you're probably a regular commenter. Thank you so much. These are the latest people that have rejoined the membership thing since I turned that back on. And again, cannot thank you guys enough for what you're doing to help this channel. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.